But as a small business, if you don't involve or get involved or put yourself in a position where you can see this information or see what's going on, you get left behind and you've got no chance. I was very much still doing the doing. I wasn't in a position where I could block out my diary 2 or 3 hours a week or an hour a week. I was very much of the technician, as it were, and I found it very, very hard. I cannot no longer drive 6 lorries at once. I can't answer 6 phones at once. I can't do everything on my own. I was extremely sceptical of ActionCOACH. I was at that point driving a lorry at a time, thinking that I cannot get anyone to do my job. Nobody will basically phone the customers prior to the delivery. No one will get on site and go to the nth degree to make sure that a customer has a turf or product exactly where they want it to be. No one's going to look after a lorry the way I would do. But seeing what's happened of the business the last 9-10 years, I can see exactly why everybody needs a coach. And I think there's one thing that Brad did sort of say to me many years ago, is that nobody would dream of going and building a house without an architect. And that is so true. And I think in this day and age, trying to build a business in this modern era without some advice, without having to reinvent every wheel, not just the wheel, but every wheel, it's tough. Once you get into the system, once you get into the routine, once you accept it's a long-term investment in the business for me and the team to grow, to move on, then suddenly you look back and you think, yeah, that's been well worth it, well worthwhile. And we've been banging on day in, day out on efficiencies and margins, and irrelevant of basically the volume of turf we're selling and bags of soil we're selling. And that is coming to fruition. That is speaking volumes for itself in terms of numbers. We've now got a margin figure per day. We've now got a net profit per day, which is phenomenal. We are looking at analysing the data from the business down to the minutiae of even so margin per kilometre on a weekly basis, which is giving us real sort of benchmarks to work on for efficiency. So it was on my own for 9 years. My father helped out, and now we've got 13 full-time people, full-time staff. The team keeps building and growing, and they take an interest in not so much just the work stuff, but the outside stuff, which is so important now. But certainly now the balance I've got in terms of looking after the children, looking after my new wife and a young child, the organisation and the structure that I'm putting in place to allow me to look after everybody is something that Alan's been banging on for years. Net profits increased since 2009, 2010, 5-fold. Turnover has basically gone from turning over 500,000 to just over 4 million. My standard day used to be quite happily from 3:30 in the morning until 7:30 at night on the turf, and then a few hours in the evening on the farm, trying to basically to do everything. It would be a common occurrence that we're breaking turf down at midnight. I've been combining all day, and just didn't think anything of it. But I think in your early 20s you can do it. You can basically just work with no sleep. Children come along, it changes everything, and the hours. Yeah, I don't want to do the hours I used to do. I can't do the hours, and secondly, I've got other priorities in my life, which I have to basically give priority to as well. And it's a matter of making now the business work for me and for my family, but at the same time making the business work for the team we have. And if everyone's happy, then it'll work. It's very hard to quantify how much Alan or ActionCOACH has helped the business. The sense of control that Alan has given me over the last couple of years is fantastic. I think even Alan himself would say, George, 2 years ago, if he ever thought we could get down to literally a margin figure per day, let alone a net profit figure per day, he'd have been over the moon. We've nailed that in 9 months.